Coming up on the Middle Class VO podcast.
Everybody is on equal playing field because you're there in a community of people all there for the same reason, is to learn and enjoy the fact that we are all part of a larger community of voice acting. So that's what it's about.
If you need e-learning, we're just an email away. Corporate narration, tell us what to say. Explainer video, imaging radio, slinging local cars, reading IVR. No, we ain't no stars. This is the Middle Class VO podcast. The Middle Class VO podcast. The Middle Class VO podcast.
Welcome to the Middle Class VO podcast. 2022 is here, and it is going to be a huge year. Kevin Kilpatrick here in Nashville. Bobby Maxwell is in Cincinnati, and we have a big announcement. A big announcement, right, Bobby?
Oh, it's big. It's big.
Yeah, and we're finally at a point where we can talk about it, and we're so excited about this. It's been an industry standard for the last, 8 years or so, and we're talking about VoiceOver Atlanta, the VoiceOver Conference. Bobby and I are going to be presenting and instructing this year at VO Atlanta. And here to help us talk about all of that is Christy Bowen, also in Nashville. Hey, Christy.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Hey there.
Good.
Hey there.
You sound so clear right down the road, Christy. You sound really good.
Technology. It's amazing, isn't it?
It is. But you'd sound the same if we were worlds apart, too.
Exactly.
So that's kind of cool. So, this is very exciting. Bobby and I have been wanting to do this, and that's share some of our knowledge. And so we got accepted to present at VoiceOver Atlanta, which is coming up March 31st through April 3rd. This year's theme is Resolve. And Christy is with us because Christy has been heavily involved in VoiceOver Atlanta. And Christy and I were chatting the other night while I was teaching at Tennessee VoiceOver Studios, a similar class that we're going to be doing at VO Atlanta. And she goes, yeah, Kevin, I've been working on the schedule. I know when you and Bobby are going to be working and presenting and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, really?
Oh, can you share
Christy,
that with us?
Yeah.
We don't know yet.
Well, not yet. The
Christy,
official schedule, I think, is going to be released. They're hoping for tomorrow. So, yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah, and Christy has been involved heavily in VoiceOver Atlanta for a long time. And Christy can talk more about the conference than probably most people. So, Christy, tell us a little bit about the history of VoiceOver Atlanta and, what it's all about and what people can gain.
Well, VoiceOver Atlanta, I didn't join until about, 3 years. Yeah, 1999, I became kind of on staff. I had gone before then, but, as presenter and everything else. But
you mean 2019?
2019, yeah. What did I even say? I don't even know what I just said.
You said 99.
Sorry. God, it's been a day already. Sorry. In 2019, yeah, it was when I first became, kind of on staff. But I presented before that in 2017. And, the conference had been going on at that point for a couple of years. And there were a lot of people, living here in Nashville. It's so close to Atlanta. Lots of people were going down there. There was great buzz about it. Really, people were just enjoying, it a lot. And it was getting some really good notice in the industry. And I just was never able to go for those first couple of years because it always conflicted with something going on with my daughter's school, or it was spring break or something was happening. And I finally was able to go, and it was, there as a speaker. And it was just such a great experience, and seeing everybody, and just, the whole idea behind it was just a really, I don't know. I mean, I've been to lots of different kinds of conferences, and I like all of them, and they all have their own personality and their own style, which is great because that way, the more you go to, they're not all the same. Yes, there may be some of the same speakers, but they all have a different style. And Gerald has just put together a really great group of people with a very specific purpose in mind. While the people that are there to speak are there to impart their knowledge, they're not there to sell anything. They're not there to, tout themselves and sell their books and do all this stuff. Yes, there's an expo, and yes, there's a place where you can go and, hear what people have to say. But the idea behind it is that, and the other thing, when he looks for presenters, he wants to make sure they're the kind of people that are all about meeting other people as human beings and just being there to interact with others instead of, I'm going to give my speech and I'm going back to my room. that is not the kind of person that he wants to have there. He wants to have people who are willing to constantly be with all the other people that are there to soak up the knowledge and know you as a person. And, it's a really nice concept to think about that the people that are there to speak, that are there to share their years of experience, in some cases, people who are even newer he has on the table because who are on the schedule because they have something to share that is valuable to the community. It doesn't matter whether you've had 20 years experience or 2. If you have something valuable to share and you are a people person and you are willing to be constantly in the mix, sharing what you know, meeting people where they are, approaching everyone as a human being and getting to know them on that level, then you're welcome at this conference. And I think people going with an open mind, whether you're an attendee or a presenter, and a lot of the presenters like to go to the other attendees' sessions, because they're there to learn as well. It's just a nice community, and people have a lot of fun with all the extracurriculars and things that go on and seeing each other, of course. But, even Gerald likes to create spaces for people to be themselves and use their skills and talents, just naturally have like musical instruments set up. And we have so many musical people, or when there's karaoke on Friday nights, people get up there and use their skills as singers as well. And it's so much fun because you find other sides of people that you didn't know before, which is really kind of interesting. And, there's like people who are really into games. And so there'll be a whole bunch of people who are just set up in the hallway and like, yeah, we're going to play games. Okay. They're the gaming group, it's whatever is going on. It's just... I really like the vibe of the conference. It has grown very, very large over the years because it's gotten such a great reputation. 2019, the last in-person one, was huge. I mean, there were over 800 people there. It was just massive. 2020, of course, didn't happen. 2021 was online only, but it was very well attended. I mean, 400 plus people. We had, there was so much going on at one time by Zoom, and we managed to make it work, and people really enjoyed it. Yes, it was different. No, we didn't get to see our people. No, we didn't get to give anyone hugs. But the information and the knowledge was still being shared, and people were still able to hang out and see each other and chat and really engage. So this year I hope it's going to be really special that, we kind of get back together and do all those things again. So.
Give it a bop, bop, wow.
And Christy talking about Gerald, she's talking about Gerald Griffith, who is the founder of VoiceOver Atlanta and has been running this thing for years, as she mentioned. And Christy, it's kind of bittersweet that Bobbi and I are doing it this year because it's the final year.
Yes, it is. It is Gerald's last year of doing this.
It's been a jewel in the voiceover industry for several years, but I think it's just exhausting. It's got to be, right? You've been in the trenches.
Yeah, it's definitely a large production. I mean, anybody who's ever put on a big production before, it takes a lot of work and it takes a long time to do it. I mean, it's like herding cats, I mean, because especially since you're talking about it is a conference that's worldwide. So there are people who come from all over the world to this conference. So people coming from all the different countries, and we have presenters from overseas as well. So, getting their schedules together. And then, just even within the United States, the 4-hour difference between East Coast and West Coast sometimes can be, challenging. And yeah, there's a lot to it. There's, dealing with the hotel and all of their things. Anytime you work with a hotel event space, there are always going to be the things that go with dealing with a hotel event space. And then, of course, you've got, production to deal with and making sure everybody is where they need to be and, all the tech is working and, making sure the expo is set up correctly and everyone has what they need. And then, there's so many minutiae details that go into it. And I've been working on the schedule for the past couple of years and trying to work with all of the different requirements and things. Of course, when it was virtual, that was even more of an interesting thing last year because there were some people overseas and, the 4 p.m. time slot would have been, 2 in the morning for them. So that didn't work. So we had the morning time slot. So, there were different things that were going on with that. Luckily this year when everybody is in person, it's a little easier, but still there are considerations, and so people have certain requests or they can't be there until a certain day or whatever. And, putting the schedule together and also making sure that things don't overlap too much or that people aren't, required to be in 2 places at once. That's always my fun thing of, nope, I can't put that person in that slot because they're already here. here, on this slot. So, it's a very interesting challenge to work with, to coordinate that many people and that many, rooms at the hotel and, all the tech and which size room is it going to be for this particular speaker? Who do we think is going to be, a little more, maybe this one's going to garner a larger crowd than this topic. So, we have to be mindful in balancing all of those things together. And while it's a challenge, it is fun. I mean, at least for me, because that's just who I am. I'm weird like that. But, there are lots of things to it.
Glutton for punishment.
You had hit on this a couple minutes ago about the community, and I remember my first VO Atlanta. I knew nobody, not a single soul. So I was very intimidated, and I was planning on doing what you were talking about, like go to the session and go to your room. But it just took reaching out or going up and sitting next to somebody, and all of a sudden you've met one friend, and then all of a sudden there's a group. And I'm an introvert, so it was really tough for me. But once you made that connection, it just got better every year. I remember, and you were talking about how they like the presenters to be out there with everybody. I think it was Cliff Zellman and Ann Ganguza and a couple other people were just hanging out in the bar area. And by the end of the conference, I felt comfortable to go up and ask them a question because they were so welcoming. And I love that about VO Atlanta.
And that's the whole point, is that everyone should feel that they can approach anyone at that conference at any time, for any reason, whether it's another attendee or a presenter. Yes, they may have a name, or they may have done something that you very much respect, or you revere in a way of like, oh, that is that is the casting director for Disney, or oh, that is Mary Lynn Wisner, and she's this wonderful casting director, has this great reputation, or that's Jeff Howell, or that's Dave Fennoy, or whoever it is that you know their name, and you're like, oh, I could never go up and talk to them. Yes, you can, and that's why they're there, and that's why they keep coming back, because they enjoy this just as much as everyone else does. Now, you might approach them as they're on their way to go give a presentation, so they might have to say, can we put this on pause? But other than that, everyone is very approachable, and that's the whole point, and that's how people gain a really good reputation in the business, is because they don't mind chatting with everybody, whether they're a newbie, I hate that word, whether they're new and inexperienced in the business because they're trying to learn, or they have been doing this for a very long time. Everybody is on equal playing field because you're there in a community of people, all there for the same reason, is to learn and enjoy the fact that we are all part of a larger community of voice acting. So that's what it's about.
Skip-it-a-ba-ba-ba.
And there's so many genres that are there, too.
Yes, absolutely.
It's not just commercial, and it's not just video games. It's everything.
It's everything. We have a large amount of vocal support classes that are happening, talking about our instrument. Because, we all want to talk about all the great things that we can do and what projects we've booked, but none of that matters if you lose your voice or if you don't take care of it. Mm-hmm. You won't have the longevity to keep going with this career. So, we have a lot of things in vocal support, which is sometimes not really thought of as well. Business and marketing, we have huge, enormous amounts of classes in business and marketing, because a lot of it's not as sexy as some of the other things. People want to take the classes about, how to do video games better, or I want to get into promo or radio imaging. And those are all really great and sexy and wonderful things, and things you need to learn if those are your shows and genres, or maybe you want to check it out because you're not sure about that genre. But there's also the business and marketing stuff that needs to happen, because nobody's going to, keep up with their business. You're not going to get the opportunities if you don't know how to market your business. So all those things happen as well. And there's a lot of specialty categories, things that just don't necessarily fall into a genre, or they cross genres. Things about mindfulness and being, very mental health aspects of stuff. We have a lot of sessions this year on that, because it's been a rough couple of years, and things about keeping up our internal and mental health, and just knowing that it may look all rosy on social media, and we all like to make it look that way, but everyone has their struggles, and everyone has the things that they're working on in this business and in their personal lives, and that all feeds into how we perform. And so we have sessions on those types of topics as well, because we just want to make sure that everything, everyone feels included. So it's wonderful. We have just a nice variety of different things this year that I think everyone's going to be very pleasantly surprised and happy with. There's also Audiobook Academy, which is a separate part. Well, it's separate but connected. Michelle Cobb is the director of the Audiobook Academy, and she's fantastic. She's put together a program that is just amazing. It's 2 days. It's Thursday, Friday, and it's all day, both of those days, and it's just those days, and it's wonderful. They have so many different amazing speakers, and gosh, the things they're going to talk about. If you really are interested in audiobooks, it's a great program she's put together. So that's, it's a separate ticket. You can get both VO Atlanta and Audiobook Academy, or just Audiobook Academy if that's all, if audiobooks are your thing and that's where you want to go, you can do just that. So there's a lot of good stuff happening.
Christy, I want to go back just a second because I disagree with the point that you made a minute ago. Now that Bobbi and I are going to be presenting this year at VO Atlanta, I disagree with the approachability aspect because I have a very strict don't look at me in the eye policy whenever it comes to people.
Yeah, well, Okay, everybody
and anybody that
Kevin.
knows me well knows I'm full of crap. But anyway, no, I'm so looking forward to this. And Christy knows, I was so fortunate to be able to teach at Tennessee Voiceover Studios earlier this week of this recording. And it's a class that is going to be similar to what Bobbi and I are going to be doing, and it's called Making Cash in the Middle Class. And it's all about these different voiceover genres that are not as sexy, a word Christy used a minute ago. They're not as sexy as a lot, but they're good ways to stabilize the income while you're hustling for the sexy stuff like, telephony, e-learning, local commercials, corporate narration, and that kind of stuff. So very excited to be presenting that. And Christy, you probably can't reveal any schedule stuff yet, can you?
No, I better not, just because, I know, things start on Thursday. We do have several breakouts and a whole bunch of X sessions that will be taking place on Thursday. And then it's all day Friday, all day Saturday. And I need to make a correction. Audiobook Academy is actually Friday and Saturday. Sorry, I said Thursday, Friday. It's Friday, Saturday.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's a very full schedule. Everything starts at either 8:30 in the morning and goes till, the breakouts kind of go till about 6 or 7 in the evening, and then their X sessions start at 6:30 to 9:30, the last group. And X sessions are workshops, 3-hour workshops. They're limited to 12 attendees only, and they are not recorded because a lot of people want to know about that. They are not recorded. You have to be on site, and you can take an X session even if you are not registered for VO Atlanta. And those are an additional cost. If you are attending VO Atlanta, X sessions are an additional cost. However, if you're listening to this podcast and you look at the schedule and you see an X session with, let's say you're into gaming and you see Dave Fenoy and you haven't had a chance to study with him yet, you can take that X session even if you are not going to the rest of VO Atlanta. Now, you'd have to be present in Atlanta to take that, just because, that's where it's happening. They're not doing those virtually, at least not to my knowledge, unless Gerald's changed something, and then I stand corrected. But yeah, there are a lot of really great things coming up on the schedule, but it does start Thursday with a few breakouts and some X sessions, and then there's the opening, there's a presenter's reception, there's an opening, there's, the big kind of fun party that happens on Thursday night, kind of the opening reception to just kind of welcome everybody. Friday night, there's going to be some fun things. I can reveal that Pandora is going to be doing, we have the speakers, Steve Pogach and David Quetter from Pandora will be there. And on Friday night, I believe, maybe it's Friday and Saturday, they will be doing like some, workouts where they have scripts and things and you can read for them. That's Friday and Saturday night, as well as the big parties and things that go on Friday and Saturday night. So there's a lot of fun stuff happening as well. There's the after stuff.
Do you know if they're doing the Read for the Agents this year?
I believe we are, yes. Now, that's not something I've been scheduling. I'm not quite as involved as I have been in the past, so I don't have the full schedule in front of me. I know, some of it. But yeah, I believe that is something that they're going to be doing as well.
Good.
Yeah, and it may not be agent. It may be, you can go read, and it may be for a director or a producer or a, agent or somebody of that type. I don't want to say strictly agents because it's not all agents. So
A penny for your thoughts.
Big elephant in the room. A lot of people in the.
What are you trying to say, Bobbi?
Hey, I didn't put on that much weight.
A lot of people in the forums on Facebook and such are saying, they are thinking maybe they won't go because of COVID. What kind of safety protocols has Gerald put into place for this?
I do know that there is one big requirement that you have to be vaccinated. Other than that, I don't know the other protocols, but you do have to have vaccination, a full vaccination. I don't know if booster is required, but I know you have to be at least, 2 shots vaccinated to attend in person. I know that may be keeping several people away, and I understand that. And, it's a personal choice. I don't know anything more than that. I'm sure, I think some of it come down to what the hotel requirements are.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what all they have mandated for that. So I don't want to, tell people what's happening with that when I'm not sure what the latest and greatest is. And it may change, from the time we have this podcast, released to the time, it actually happens. Who knows? By the end of March, we hope there's no more, not another variant out there.
I know we all want to hug each other, but we have to, lead with our heads too.
Yeah. Maybe a lot of fist bumping going on,
Right.
So.
Right.
Well, this is all very exciting.
Yeah, it really is.
Very exciting.
I mean, even if I think everyone, if everyone goes with the mindset that we have to be careful and mindful and respect people's personal space, and just don't automatically hug someone unless, you ask first, and maybe do fist bumps versus, I'm sure there's going to be hand sanitizer everywhere just because that's natural. And, there's always the conference crud that happened before COVID,
Yeah, colds.
People had to
You're
be careful.
right.
Yeah, the
Every
conference
year.
crud always seemed to happen anyway. But, I think if we're all mindful and respectful of each other, no matter what your personal stance is, realize that somebody may have a different stance. So be respectful and ask before you either hug or handshake, but just, acknowledge them and, respect space. And if they're wearing a mask, maybe put your mask on to talk to them or something. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's up to you. But, I think if we are all, as long as we all be kind to one another and we're respectful, I think that's going to go a long way in making the conference a lot more accessible and a lot more safe in people's minds, because it's going to be a safe space to be, mentally, if we're kind to one another, as well as safe with our COVID protocols.
Right. I know they're giving away 3 scholarships this year, and I just saw that email come out, I think, this morning, where you can make a nomination for someone who's deserving of a scholarship or maybe can't financially meet the cost. And I think you can go to the website and do that, right? voatlanta.me?
I believe so, yeah. I know that is something that... It's done by Tim Friedlander with Bev Standing and Robert Seglepaglia. I know they're doing that, and it's in honor of Brad Venable.
Right. I saw that. That's cool.
Yeah. So that's going to be a really nice scholarship to have 3 people come and be able to, especially since it's the last year, be able to come and really take part and gain a lot of knowledge to help them with their career. Because, one of the things, like you said, Bobbi, you didn't know anyone when you got there. And it's one of those things that you end up meeting a group of people and kind of building your tribe, as it were. And so many people have met their tribes at VO Atlanta, and it carries over. At one point, I remember one year being there, and I had there were 3 other ladies besides me, so there were 4 of us. And I looked around at all of them and I went, wait, I have a person from each of my tribes here, and now you all know each other too. So we're now a new tribe. This is fantastic because I knew all of them, but they didn't know each other, and it was just this neat. I'm like, I know you from here, and you from here, and you from here, and now you all know each other. And this is, it's meeting the other people at the conference is almost as important, if not, in my opinion, more important than what you're going to be learning at the conference, because you can always, most of these breakout sessions are going to be recorded. So you will have access to them later. And therefore, you can, whatever you miss, you can go back and get later, and that will live there for a long time. The connections you make and the people you meet, that's something that is also hopefully going to live for a long time for you. And you're going to constantly keep up those connections and build your tribe to continue on your journey in voiceover.
Absolutely.
That's Get-Worthy.
And it's funny, Christy, because that was Christi Bowen and I met in Atlanta. We're both right here in Nashville, and we met for the very first time in Atlanta at VO Atlanta. And it was just like, there's all these Nashville people here, and I'm one of them, but I was not in that tribe yet. But now I'm part of the tribe.
Yes, you are.
I feel so
We're
good
so
about
glad
it.
to have you as part of the tribe. And Bobbi, by extension now with her family, is also part of the Nashville tribe at times, which is wonderful.
Which, by the way, with the football game that happened.
Oh my gosh!
Can I get a hoo-day from both of you?
Hoo-day.
Hoo-day.
Oh my!
I tell you, I am rooting for Cincinnati now, though. I am pulling for Cincinnati. Anyway, back to. But yeah, the very first VO Atlanta I went to was because of Bobbi Maxwell. Bobbi and I had met, and I had hired her for some work, and she and I hit it off and started becoming friends. And she's like, "Are you into voiceover Atlanta?" I'm like, "What's voiceover Atlanta? I have no idea. What is this? What is this you speak of?" And I researched it, and I'm like, she's kind of like, "You ought to go. It's like cool, you learn, you blah 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 blah." I'm like, ugh. Okay, and I honestly was so nervous. You talk about the intimidation factor, because I didn't know. But man, it is such an amazing community, this voiceover community we have. And then voiceover Atlanta is even more special because it's kind of like in our backyard in a way. But it's the last year for it. Voiceover Atlanta, Resolve, March 31st through April 3rd. Bobbi and I are honored to be presenting. We're going to have an X session. And we're going to do a breakout session as well, and we just couldn't be more pleased.
And we're very happy to have you. We're excited. It's going to be a really great lineup, a lot of wonderful people there this year. So for those of you who may be on the fence, we do hope you join us. And for those of you who have already been converted, welcome back, and we're excited to see everyone.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be great.
Yes, it is.
Well, Christy, thanks so much for joining us for this and your input and your insight and your thoughtfulness and your explanation, your breakdown of everything VO Atlanta that we could get out of you today. We're very appreciative.
You're very welcome. I do really, I enjoy the opportunity to talk about VO Atlanta because it holds a special place in my heart, but also I think it's been a wonderful service to the community. And, we just, I'm sorry that it's the last one, but it was here, it had its purpose, it had its time, and we've got one more to experience and go out with a bang.
We are going to go out with a bang. And if you would like more information about training, you can't make it to VO Atlanta, feel free to reach out to Christy at Tennessee Voiceover Studios. And Christy, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's TNVoiceoverstudios.com?
That's correct, yes. TNVoiceoverstudios.com. We have classes that are both in person if you happen to be in the Middle Tennessee area, or they are virtual as well. So you don't have to be here in Nashville if you want to take a class. So check out the offerings.
Excellent.
We'll see you in the ATL, you guys.
I know. See you there.
The Middle Class VO Podcast is a K2 Media Productions production.
All views and opinions expressed are those of the hosts and guests. The McVop jingle was written and produced by Kevin.
Co-produced and performed by Chloe Dolandis.
Additional engineering by Zach Zimmett.
Bobbi's hair and makeup by Rebecca Adlita.
Kevin's wardrobe by Slippery Pete's Fashion Emporium.
All previous episodes are available for download on Podbean.
For the Middle Class VO Podcast, I'm Tracy Thibodeau.
I'm Lisa Lou Perry.
Thanks for listening.
And don't miss the next episode of The Middle Class VO Podcast. The Middle Class VO Podcast.